Hi, welcome to the Identity Threshold as part of the Master Series. So, for those of you that are new here, I'm Genevieve, the founder of Laniakea Soulkeys. I guide women through transformational mentorship, embodiment work retreats, and leadership pathways that support emotional and energetic healing, nervous system safety, feminine leadership, and lasting inner change. I truly believe many women are actually standing at an identity threshold right now. A threshold between survival and embodiment, depletion and discernment, overfunctioning and self trust, performing womanhood and actually living connected to themselves. And I think women collectively are beginning to question everything in their field. We are looking at every relationship that we have, every dynamic and pattern within ourselves, the relationships that we remain inside, the pace that we've normalized, the exhaustion that we've tolerated, the emotional labor we carry silently, and the identities that we perform to feel worthy, needed, chosen, or safe. There are a lot of patriarchal systems that are collapsing into themselves right now. And this isn't about pointing the finger out, this is about coming in here. For years, many women have survived by becoming versions of themselves that could hold absolutely everything. And the reality is, we can't. We need support, we need held, we need the masculine presence, the feminine presence, we need the earth herself and all that she offers us and gifts us and resources us with, and we need each other. And so the idea that we need to continue to be the strong woman, the endlessly capable woman, the woman who doesn't need help, the woman who keeps the peace, the woman who performs wellness while quietly drowning emotionally underneath it, these are dynamics that the goddess is literally ripping the rug from beneath our feet and saying, I need you to stand here, I need you to witness, I need you to see clearly, and I want you to show you what is shifting. She's like whispering to her daughters, calling us in and showing us that something is shifting. Women are beginning to realize, I cannot continue building my life disconnected from myself. It is just not possible. If there is any area of your life where you're feeling a disconnection, something out of alignment, it is going to be very obvious in 2026. There will be no denial around it because that awareness is what's going to change everything for all of us. And because once a woman truly sees where she's abandoned herself, the reality is that once we see what we see, we cannot fully unsee it again. And so this is why our relationships are shifting. This is why how we do business is shifting. This is why we are choosing to exit anything that does not feel reciprocal or truly heart led. And so this threshold can feel incredibly uncomfortable because the old identity often fought very hard to survive. It's the egoic part of ourselves that has kept us safe all of these years. And so we're in this internal to and fro as we bridge ourselves from one place to the other. And so, in these moments, in these threshold moments, as a woman, you may suddenly realize the relationship no longer reflects who you're becoming. And there will be grief with that. You may realize that the business that you built through overworking and nervous system dysregulation cannot hold. You may realize that your boundaries were built around fear. You may start to recognize and feel that your body's been living in this chronic survival, or that the version of success that you chased no longer feels right. It's actually not what you want at all. And so, what happens next is really important. And this is where I feel my work is going to support the women and this collective feminine pulse that we are feeling energetically and emotionally right now. Many women panic in this space and we try to rush into clarity, into fixing, into making it better because the discomfort can feel really scary because the identity death is actually a sacred initiation. And with that comes this grief, and the grief of recognizing how long we've actually abandoned ourselves. So you're going to be feeling this grief of how long you've abandoned yourself, how much pressure you have carried, how much you've tolerated, how disconnected you became from your own truth. And this is where deep feminine embodiment begins. It's not through becoming better. It's actually through becoming more honest. This midlife perimenopausal phase that many women, my age, I'm 46 now, many women find themselves in from their late 30s through to their 40s and 50s. It is an initiation into a more honest woman. And it's not about becoming better, it's not about becoming more, but it is about becoming truly honest with yourself, radically self responsible for yourself. And the shift will look like no longer over explaining your boundaries, resting without guilt, choosing relationships that feel emotionally and energetically safe, the ones where your body exhales and softens, not tightens and contracts, where you begin to honor your body's signals. You'll be protecting your energy differently. You're going to slow down enough to actually hear yourself outside of everyone else's opinion, story, noise. There's a lot of noise out there. Slowing down enough to actually hear yourself is going to become a spiritual practice that's massively important, because you're going to become more discerning with where your life force actually goes. And this is about allowing your nervous system to stop living in constant survival mode. So many of us are beginning to recognize and see with huge amount of clarity that we've been living in survival mode, in chaos and stress. And it's not a weakness, it's literally we're being invited to mature. There is a room that is opening up for the mature feminine, one that can lead. And so I want to invite you into a practice. I'm going to just gently explain a wee bit about what I want you to do, and then we're going to move deeper. So in the practice, I'm going to ask you to put your hands over your solar plexus. You can put your left hand under your right hand, or vice versa. The left is for receiving, the right is for giving. And I'll invite you to close your eyes, and then I'm going to invite you to use your imagination and this golden spiral technique that will begin to open at your navel. And then I'm going to ask you some questions as I invite you to use your imagination, your energy, your emotional field to move the light through your nervous system. And its purpose is going to dissolve overwhelm, pressure, old identities, and survival patterns that have been normalized and tolerated in your field. And the questions that I'm going to ask you to deepen into will be: what version of yourself is asking to be released right now? And what are you no longer willing to abandon yourself for? Because really and truly, what I feel happening within the feminine pulse, within the patterns, beneath the patterns, is that women are starting to become built through a rising of energetic refinement, emotional maturity, nervous system safety, and it's not through this force and pressure. We've been in the pressure cooker. Now it's time to rise up through this part of us where the mind, body, and soul finally feel safe enough to tell the truth. So I want to invite you to place both hands gently at your solar plexus, and then I want to invite you to close your eyes. Just feel your breath. You're not changing it, you're not doing anything with it. And in that moment, I want you to use your imagination to imagine a golden spiral slowly opening up below your navel. Now I'm working energetically with you at the same time. And you're going to feel and see and connect to this golden light, and it's going to begin moving upwards through your body. This golden spiral is a very simple, beautiful technique that I teach within the Laniakea Soulkeys. We're moving this spiral through the nervous system, the adrenals, and you might want to place your hands just at where the kidneys would be, the adrenals, kidneys. It's moving through the adrenals, the kidneys, the lungs, the heart. You might want to move your hand like this as you expand that spiral. The throat, the back of the head, the crown, and the higher centers above you. So you're bringing this energy. So you might be somebody who's like me, who needs the sensation of the movement to feel the energy expand. We are not just physical beings, we are emotional, energetic, spiritual beings. And so this spiral, as it rises through your body and touches on the heart and the throat and the back of the head, the top of the head, the front of the head, and we're just gently dissolving overwhelm, emotional pressure, old identities, fear-based responsibilities, survival patterns. You might want to move the energy out of the body. And we're responding to and dissolving energetic heaviness and stress. You might feel connected to a particular part of the body where there's a stress response that it's been carrying for a long time. And you're breathing and you're moving this spiral slowly and energetically, using the light of your soul, the light of your heart, the light of your power, the light of your energy. And you're moving it through and you're gently asking and paying attention. What is the version of me that is ready to be released? What am I no longer available for? These are questions you can journal deeper on, of course, all while paying attention to the energy and the movement. We're moving energy out. We're not holding on to anything in the heart. Who am I becoming beneath the survival patterns? What am I no longer available for? What am I releasing? What is the weight that I've carried on these shoulders that I'm allowing myself to move past? Who am I becoming beneath the survival patterns? And allow the body to soften into this transition rather than forcing clarity immediately. People try and get to the clarity before they've moved through the energetics and the emotional field, before they've even built up the inner capacity to hold themselves. It's important to recognize that these identity thresholds are sacred spaces. They are not a push or a rush into becoming something you're not ready for. And it's really important that you learn how to stay connected to yourself as you evolve. And so when you're in those spaces and places with me, and I will carry this energy on through, when you're in those spaces and places and you're bringing the energy to a close, you're remembering it's safe to stay connected to yourself. I am safe to stay connected to myself as I evolve. And you can repeat that with me. I am safe to stay connected to myself as I evolve. It is safe for me to stay connected to myself as I evolve. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. I'm excited that you're in this space. I cannot wait to dive deeper into the emails with you all, where I'm actually going to be just ripping back the veil, being very, very honest and transparent inside that space for you, so that you can actually receive fully, even if you're not ready to fully invest in me or yourself at this time in a deeper way. Trust that this will hold you. This will hold you steady as you make the decisions about whether or not you want to move into deeper mentorship with me. Sending you all so much love.